Hey everyone! Good morning! Ay, wait lang. Hindi pala tayo radio show. Podcast nga pala tayo. Podcast. Yeah. Anyway, again, everybody, hello! Welcome to another episode of Bakit Di Nyo Masagot Lahat ng Tinatanong, where we dive deep into the stories, issues, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gerald, and today we are unpacking a hot topic that's as timely as it is controversial. The Marcos and the media, rhetoric versus reality. So, from presidential speeches to viral social media posts, the Marcos family has had a long and complex relationship with the media. But how much of what we see and hear is just that media spin? And how much is the reality on the ground? So let's get into it. Let's see, So under the leadership of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., media relations have been marked by a strategic embrace of digital platforms and centralized messaging, all aimed at projecting a vision of national unity and economic progress. Yeah, unity. The administration has worked to control narratives, especially when it comes to the Marcos family's controversial history, and has forged partnerships with media outlets to ensure favorable coverage. Challenges persist. Press freedom is under threat, with journalists facing harassment and critical reporting being suppressed, and despite bold promises, the reality of governance has sometimes fallen short, widening the gap between rhetoric and reality. So, here is the big question for you guys, no? For our listeners. Can President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration truly uphold press freedom? Or is it just rhetoric? Okay, so all the arguments here are from the news article entitled Marcos and the Media, Platitudes versus what else again? It's an article from Rappler, no? We give credits to the rightful owners for the media. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's see here. First, we have here our first argument is better global press freedom ranking. So the strength of this is that the Philippines moved from 147 to 132nd in the World Press Freedom Index, shows progress in how press freedom is seen worldwide under the Marcos administration, and it gives us the impression that of a more friendly environment compared to Duterte's time in media, no? However, the ranking does not reflect the struggles of journalists still facing threats, harassment, and red tagging. So a higher ranking doesn't mean real changes to protect press freedom. And for the record, this was collected back in 2022. So while a better ranking enhances the country's image internationally, it does not guarantee that the journalists are genuinely safe or free to report without fear. So the underlying issues affecting press freedom must be addressed to translate these rankings into meaningful improvements, no? So despite the climb from the rankings, according to Rappler, after just a year of this press ranking, we have fallen 2 places from the 2024 World Press Freedom Index. So it's giving us the impression that the Philippine press is still worrisome. So maybe because that might be due to the increasing media platforms formed by politicians such as the All TV channel that is owned by Manny Villar and Martin Romualdez, Prime Media Holding Incorporated, that entered the joint venture deal with the ABS-CBN that launched DP or DWP-M Radio 63. So politicians making their own channels is kind of worrisome. Now let's get into the second one. We have a second argument here. We have here the accreditation of vloggers could help us regulate the access of the government events. No? However, that comes with a risk because it could potentially endorse biased reporting and misinformation. While accreditation aims to regulate access, it risks legitimizing politically motivated bloggers over journalistic integrity and potentially harming the information ecosystem by creating. So unlike traditional media organizations in the Philippines that adhere to guidelines set by the organization like the Kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, bloggers may lack formal training in journalistic ethics. This could lead to dissemination of biased or unverified content and confusion between personal and factual reporting. And our country is already battling the spread of fake news, especially on media platforms, no? Accrediting vloggers could risk amplifying and not thoroughly examined content that further complicates public trust in media. And this could also strengthen state propaganda and silently critical or independent journalism, given that the issues about spreading mis and disinformation back in presidential campaigns, diba? And for the recommendations for the government, first we have to strengthen press freedom laws to enhance the Media Workers Welfare Act to provide comprehensive protections for journalists facing threats, addressing issues such as the deaths of journalists like Ray Blanco, Percy Lapid, and Cristiano Aldovino. Second is to expand the Freedom of Information Law, broaden Executive Order Number 2 to cover all government branches and LGUs, including penalties for non-compliance and delays to improve transparency. Number 3, criminalize red tagging and act laws explicitly banning red tagging, which endangers journalists and hinders their work. And for the media, first we have to form a journalist union, establishing organizations like the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines to advocate for legal and physical protections and amplify their collective voice. Second, we have to educate the public. We have to publish free online guides and conduct workshops to help communities distinguish legitimate journalism from fake news and propaganda to combat disinformation. And lastly, for the public, we have to stay critical and informed, engage in critical thinking about government actions and disinformation, particularly and especially during elections. Use social media campaigns or workshops to promote fact-checking and informed decision-making. Yan. So, to finish or to wrap this up, so let's just get into a very short recap lang kung ano yung pinag-usapan natin dito. So, we have looked at the relationship between the Marcos administration and the media. While the press freedom ranking has improved, there are still serious problems like harassment, red tagging, and favoritism. So this issue shows that there is an evident gap between what the government says and in what is actually happening. We have also talked about ways that the government and media and the public can help press freedom, such as passing stronger laws and teaching people how to spot fake news or to validate their sources. So, to end this podcast, I will leave you with one question. Will the Marcos administration's action ever align with its words on press freedom? So, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you are safe and well. So, this is Gerald, signing out into another episode of Bakit Di Nyo Masagot Lahat ng Tinatanong. Thank you very much and good night.